My breath was running out, and I only managed to spew out coughs and wheezes. My heart was pounding so fast that I thought it would burst out of my chest. My legs were sore, and they felt as weak as jelly. Blood was running down my arms, legs, and chin. The sun had already set 2 hours ago, and the moon shone brilliantly. The forest was as dark as night. It was pointless to escape this thick, vegetated forest, but even so, I still wanted to run for my life. After another half a minute of running, I collapsed on the ground on all fours. I was staring at the ground. I gave out a huge wheeze, then a couple of coughs. Sweat was trickling down my forehead and under my arms and legs. My short hair was wet with sweat, and my face felt hot. The darkness of the forest had enveloped me. Shards of moonlight that shone through the forest were my only source of light. The grass felt dried up, and the ground felt rough under my palms. The cool breeze of the forest may have relaxed my face, but not my soul. He, or it, was coming after me. I was doomed. Two hours ago, I was riding my bike around the neighborhood just for fun. When the sun had set, I had started to take the road home. But then, that was when someone had started to follow me. I kept riding the road home, but at every corner that I had looked, my stalker had popped out. I had to shake him off my tail, so I took a trail that led me to the forest. The police station was not far from the forest, so I thought I would be safe soon. Then, in the middle of the trail, I saw a dark figure coming towards me, so I braked to avoid running over him. But to my horror, it was him. Out of fear, I lost control of the bicycle, fell off it, and rolled down a hill into a thorn bush. The thorns stuck to me like pushpins and stuck to me. When I clumsily got up, I looked ahead of me and saw that my bicycle was stuck between two trees. I also saw that the stalker was getting closer. My bike was too far from me and too close to my stalker, so I bolted away as fast as I could. Now here I am, exhausted and out of breath, doomed to an unknown fate. I turned around and sat back against a rough oak tree. I looked up to see where my stalker was, but he wasn't anywhere to be seen. In front of me, all I saw was darkened trees and darkened branches, thick tree roots running on the dried grass, and flowery bushes. I looked down and I realized that I was bathed in moonlight. I spit out a curse as I stood up. I cautiously and slowly tiptoed to a tree that was a couple meters away from the shards of moonlight. As I finally sat down, I looked around the woods, but I couldn't see him. Maybe he's gone, and I finally shook him off my trail, I thought to myself. Just to be sure, I cocked my head over my shoulder to check behind me. He was still no one to be seen. I sat there for a few minutes and I waited. Nothing. I was full of relief. I giggled a little bit, but I wasn't laughing for long. I turned my head to see that my mobile phone was ringing. The screen was bright, and it flashed 3 letters that spelled out a single word. Mom. Fear ran through my body like a flash flood. I spit out a few more dirty words. Shut up! I screamed as I frantically moved my thumb to reject the call. Once I did, Mom started calling me again. Now, Mom, I screeched. I'm gonna die. Once I rejected the call again, snapped open the phone case, and took out the black battery, I took a big breath. He was right behind me, wasn't he? I slowly turned my head behind me and looked up. It was him. I screamed before falling on the ground and turning around to face him. He was tall and was dressed in black, but his face was covered in darkness. As I slowly crawled away from him, he was walking closer to me. Hey! I stuttered and choked like an idiot. What's up? Oh, you know, spoke in a mesmerizing voice. Just walking, looking for food. You wouldn't mind sparing a little bit of blood to feed a poor, hungry soul like me, would you, Tony? I do mind, I answered as I kept crawling away from him until I felt the coarse, gnawed-tree roots under my butt. I like my butt. I need it for oxygen and keeping my heart working, you know. I tried to laugh a little bit more, but my stalker did not seem to be amused. I moved a little bit further until my back touched the tree. This was it. My parents weren't going to see the little Tony come back home tonight. Probably not ever again. Please, I quivered. I will do whatever you want. Just let me go home. Tonight, Tony, the figure spoke in a grim voice. You will become one of us. What? I asked, confused. Felt my tummy vanish, and the pulse in my neck beat even harder. You don't have a crucifix or clove of garlic on you, he questions as he leaned down and got on all fours. My vision blurred, and my head began to spin. The closer the stalker got to me, the louder the ringing in my ears became. No, I'm an atheist, I slowly and as loudly as I could replied. What's going on? Are you even human? I tried to decipher the features on his face, but my vision was so blurred that I could only see smudges of colors. I don't know if he replied or not. In a flash, he struck my head on something hard, pinned my limbs down with his heavy body. I felt too cold, yet soft fingers tracing on my wrist. I felt the pulse in my wrist slowing down. Then, I felt the same fingers moving towards my neck. Even though my ears were ringing loudly, I swear I heard him say that the smell of my blood was aromatic. I felt a cold hand moving to where my heart should have been. I felt my shirt being tugged here and there, until I felt a painful slash across my chest. I felt my heart spurting blood out. I tried to scream, but all that I managed to choke out was a moan. I was like a dying animal, caught by its prey. The last thing I felt was two long pointy teeth sinking into my chest. I was fading. The Tony Mahogany that his parents knew were never going to see him again. Rumors about Tony being killed or missing spread throughout the whole entire school like an infection. Police have told my homeroom teacher, my classmates, and I that a couple of days earlier, Tony Mahogany had been found dead in the forest near the school. Our homeroom teacher, Mrs. Sanders, looked frightened and somber. She buried her face in her hands and let almost a quiet sob. Miss Sanders coached cross-country, and Tony was one of her favorite students. My classmates were not very sad as our homeroom teacher was, but they looked around the room with suspicion and stared at one another with contempt. Big deal. As if Tony was someone special. Just because he was a cross-country star, it didn't mean he wasn't an ordinary person just like everyone else was. He wasn't some famous celebrity. Suddenly, out of nowhere, the school announcement came. Good morning, Evergreen High School. This is your principal, Mr. Anders, speaking. I have been instructed to give out everyone permission slips so that in case of any emergency, if no one is safe to go home, the parents of our high school students will let the child stay in school or stay home until the situation is over. This new law was passed weeks ago by the federal government, and all schools in America must follow it. If students do not get the permission slip signed out and handed to homeroom by Friday, the students will automatically be required to stay in school during an emergency. The permission slips will not come until tomorrow. And now the anime club has been moved to. No one had been paying attention to any more of the principal's babbles in the speaker. Rumors erupted in my homeroom by the students. Not even the teacher was paying attention to the announcements. While everybody was scared, I wasn't surprised at all because in other cities in and out of state, there had been mass killings in one day, or even 1 week. No physical evidence of the killer had been found. Survivors had always said that the mass murderer was tall, thin, dressed in black, and had pointed teeth. I'm not scared, moved, or shocked in any way because I knew that things were going to get better. When the bell rang, I walked out the door and waited for my friend while everyone else was going to first block. When I saw him strolling down the hallway, I reached my hand out. Hey Nate, what's up, man? Greeted Steve as we did our usual handshake. Nothing much, I said. Just the usual, same old stuff. Same here. You know, I don't feel like going to class. I'm ditching. Are you coming with me? I don't know, man. I don't want to get in trouble. Come on. It's gonna be fun. Alright, fine. He succumbed. We both walked to our lockers and put our stuff away. While people walked to the first block, we both blended in the crowd and walked away from the lockers. Once it was almost time to go to the first block, we walked into a deserted hallway and quickly ran into the men's room. Luckily, there was no teacher at the desk that was between the bathrooms. When we got into the bathroom, we climbed out the window and landed into soft grass. We ran away from school before the police could spot us. Today, we would have our own very spiritless day off. When I got home after school, I jumped on my bed, pulled out my phone, and searched for Markiplier's Until Dawn Part 2 gameplay on YouTube. As I was watching, the characters in the gameplay made stupid screams, trip over their own feet. A notification from my Gmail came up, so I paused the video and read the email. It was a warning from the school district that another young teenager was murdered in the nearby forest not too long ago. In Washington School District, around Middlesex County, there had been mass killings. The message reminded us to be careful not to go anywhere alone. I wasn't scared. Everything was going to get much better soon. Nothing else could get worse. In a couple minutes, I got an email that was supposed to change the course of my life. Greetings, Nathan Karlyle. You haven't changed a bit, have you? I am informing you that I took care of your friend, Steve, and I have turned him to a soldier and a servant. You will see him again after I turn everyone to a servant and a soldier. Also, you shall never see your parents again. Your friend and your family belong to me now. Prepare. I am coming to your school. Sincerely, a vampire. Now, my audience, forgive me for breaking the fourth wall. But I would have you know that I should have been scared, but I wasn't. I was expecting this to happen, and I wasn't affected in any way by it. Now back to the story. I turned off my phone, pulled out my backpack, and started my homework. I didn't want the police to suspect me, so after a few I didn't want the police to suspect me, so after I solved a couple algebra problems, I dialed 911. When the police came, I spoke calmly, and I told them about Steve, my parents. I even showed them the email that I had received on my Gmail. I knew that everything was going to be all right. Good morning. This is your principal speaking. I regret to inform everyone that recently another one of our students, Steve Camden, had been murdered in the forest near our school. Also, two of our cheerleaders, Ema Kinder and Evelyn Strassenburg, have gone missing. We advise staff and students not to go anywhere near the forest, not to go anywhere without traveling in a park. Also, 3 families have been massacred in our district. If anyone else will be murdered, we will stay in school day and night until the situation is over. In addition to this, all classes will be suspended. Today, there are no club meetings or any special events until the killer is caught. That is all. That was what the principal had said over the PA 2 weeks ago. The Dumont massacres had happened in 3 days, and there was no physical evidence of the killer. Yes, there were bite marks on the victim's necks, but there were no traces of saliva found. While many students went home, the rest of us were stuck in school. I wasn't able to sign my permission slip since my parents were dead. Those kids who went home were unlucky because they had gotten killed. Pretty soon, those of us who stayed at school had gotten closer to the cause of the killer. I was pretty sure that the killer was a vampire. There were divisions of police officers surrounding the school, but the next day, my classmates and I saw from our window a silhouette approaching our school. I could not see him very well from the fog, but what I did see in that minute, the silhouette had done what my classmates called unbelievable. The silhouette ran back and forth in a blur for about a minute, and then after that was over, there were corpses of police officers lying on the ground. The blood stained the dried grass, and the glassy eyes were staring into the sky. The silhouette leaned over to one of the corpses, picked up its head, and put his mouth on its neck. Some of the kids around me fainted, while the others were vomiting. The silhouette leaned over to one of the corpses, picked up its head, and put his mouth on its neck. Some of the kids around me fainted, while the others were vomiting. "You big babies," I thought to myself. "Can't handle a little blood and violence." The day after that incident, 3 classrooms were full of pale and disfigured corpses of teachers and students. There had been blood everywhere, on the desks, the windows, and the whiteboards. On each of the classrooms there had been sinister messages written in blood on the chalkboards. "I am coming for you, vampire kids." Everyone was puzzled at the last 2 words of the message. The teachers all asked the students who had the nickname Vampire Kid, but none of us answered. The next day, all of the teachers and students barricaded themselves in their classrooms by putting up heavy furniture on the walls and the doors. Despite the fact that no one had left their classrooms, even for the restroom, the room was heavily barricaded, and everyone was armed with scissors, rulers, pens, and anything else that they could find. Eventually, 9 more classrooms were included in the bloodbath. Our principal had been so frightened that he could only let out the deep breaths. When he dialed the number to the police to ask them if everyone in the school could evacuate, there was no answer on the police line, even if the police were dead. Even the police were dead. The next day, our principal had committed suicide. Now my classmates, my US history teacher, and I were the only survivors left. The moon was full. The sky was so dark that it was almost black. There were no stars in the sky. Moonlight shined through the windows and lit up a part of the classroom. Everyone had tried to sleep, but they could not. The pencil dropped. People gasped in fear. Whenever someone's phone beeped, a girl screamed. Whenever someone talked, our teacher hushed them up. The atmosphere was full of despair and hopelessness. Everyone knew they were all going to die. I didn't think that I was going to die. I was very much alive. Suddenly, the door that we barricaded with a heavy desk was pounding. Pieces of wood flew through the room, and then the door finally burst. The desk slid across the room and hit another desk. A tall, thin man, black robes, white hair, and a white goatee walked calmly into the room. The man had fiery gray eyes and long, pointed canine teeth. Everyone clicked calmly into the room. The man had fiery gray eyes and long, pointed canine teeth. Everyone cleared the path as he walked towards me. He kneeled down to me and looked me straight in the eyes. While I heard from survivors that people often blurred and blacked out when this man came close to them, I did not feel those side effects at all. I should have been scared, but instead I smiled. "You have done well, Nathan Karlyle, the vampire kid." He smiled his gleaming white teeth at me. He killed most of the students in the school without hesitation. After I wrote, "I'm coming for you, vampire kid," you generously let me drink the blood of the students and the teachers. I am grateful for that. That was a very noble act of yours. You have killed your best friend, Steve Camden, the day you both cut class. You have even led me to Tony Mahogany. You even let me drink his blood. Thank you, I said, as everyone stared at us with confusion and contempt. We will take these dead people to raise a vampire army and recreate the world. You just need to accomplish one more task for now, Vampire Kid. What is it? Kill everyone here. Yes, my master.